Hey everybody, how's it going today? Hope you guys are doing well. Sudden here. I wanted to talk about a topic a lot of people struggle with. Now, this is something that is kind of like the final boss of Japanese, if you will. It's kind of something that stops a lot of people from learning the language, and it's something that I think is very tough to tackle. So that would be learning kanji. This is something a lot of people postpone way later than they should. This is a lot of things people try to ignore, but if you face the facts, you need to realize that you're gonna have to learn kanji, and you'll get so much out of learning Japanese if you just get it out of the way. So, first of all, let's talk about stuff like RTK, RRTK, and Wanikani. If you don't know about RTK, it's Remembering the Kanji. It's a book by Heisig, and it was pushed a lot more back in the day. I don't know if it's as popular to recommend, but I know Wanikani is still kind of one of those things that a lot of people recommend. And to me, I think stuff like that is a huge waste of time. I personally did RTK, and I wasted a lot of time, and I feel like I could have completely got so much further if I just took the learning into my own hands. And I did RTK. I know Wanikani you have to pay for, so you're gonna pay to waste your time practically. It's not gonna be fun. Now, I'm just gonna quickly explain why I think it's inefficient. I think when you're learning stuff like that, what you're doing in isolated kanji study is you are basically learning things that aren't gonna apply to your actual journey in Japanese. It might help you recognize the kanji better. It might maybe even let you guess a couple of meanings of words, but the thing is, it doesn't teach you vocab. You're going to know the general gist of this kanji, but you're not going to understand what that word is. And that's really crucial part of kanji study. It's really inefficient because you're just going to have to go back and you're going to have to start associating words with these. Now, I understand it might jumpstart you a little bit quicker, but trust me when I say you are so much better just learning words. And there's even kind of a joke in the community that people who do RTK, a lot of them will do like 3 hours, 4 hours of Anki a day. Not everybody, but a lot of people will just try to get out of the way as quick as possible because they don't like it. So they end up just doing it and they dump a ton of hours into it. And for me, that's what I did. I was doing 3 hours of Anki a day, like killing myself doing Anki. And at the end, when I went to go pick up in like NHK Easy, I found that everything was just gibberish to me. I didn't even realize kind of the fundamentals of what kanji is composed of. I didn't realize that like stuff could be read a different way when it's like in different words. Like I didn't understand all the kanjis had different readings. I didn't even know like what kanji was. And that's another complaint I have with that stuff is it doesn't teach you the feel of different kanji and how they work and how they can be different in different contexts and stuff like that. All right, so we determined that isolated study isn't good. Do not just learn the kanji by themselves. What can you do? All right, so what you can do is learn words. And this is gonna be your path to fluency. This is gonna really get you in the right direction. Start with heavy Anki. And I mean like you wanna start not doing hours and hours a day, but you're primarily, when you're learning words in the beginning, you wanna be doing a lot of Anki. So try to some people like the core decks. If you like core 2K, core 3K, I wouldn't suggest doing any more than that, but start with those decks if you like them, see if you do, try them, and start understanding the kanji. I'm going to include a 3K deck that I like in the description, and you can use that. And I think how you should review it is you should look at the word, you should see it, try to guess the reading of the word, and then try to guess the meaning. You should grade yourself on whether or not you got the meaning correct, but you're still trying to guess the reading. Now, as you are doing that and you are working through the deck, you should continue immersion. At the beginning stages, you should focus on kind of video immersion, and while you're doing this, please turn on subtitles and try to read them. As you are watching the content, as you are watching the movie, the show, the anime, whatever you're doing, as you are going through those, turn on the subtitles and read them. If you can get definitions, so you can look up words occasionally, like if you have Migaku or you have something like Yomi-chan, then do that. But I think that that's not necessary. Just try to correlate the sounds with the, actual kanji, if you can. It's not imperative that you actually get that. Obviously, try to pay attention more on what they're saying, but that's just something you can do in the background to get your kanji knowledge a little bit higher while you're getting ready to start reading. Now, while you're doing this, a benefit of non-isolated kanji study too is you might be able to guess the meaning of some of the words. What do I mean by this? I mean that if you learn the word asa, which means morning, and you see the word asahi, you might be able to guess that means morning sun. You know, it's just two parts stuck together, and then you're able to kind of read it as you normally would. And that's kind of cool, because if I was just doing RTK, while I'm going through the deck, I wouldn't be able to do any of that unless I actually, memorized it myself from some other medium. And that goes a long way in just helping motivation wise too. When you're learning to read, you actually want to be able to read. And I think most people getting through the RTK deck, they're going to be like really excited to start jumping into reading, and then they're going to do it and realize they didn't learn that much from RTK, and they're going to be really upset. I understand why you would go through that deck though, to kind of just make it less intimidating, but even then, I just think it's like Japanese is intimidating. You really just got to do it. Like, if you're intimidated by kanji, don't learn this language. Like, it's not for you, obviously. And so yeah, that brings me to my next thing, which is reading as early as possible. Guys, I mean this, please. If there's one thing you can do, it's reading as early as possible. That will benefit your Japanese so much. And I wish I started reading way earlier before I actually did. So yeah, as soon as you can. So yeah, whenever you think that you are in a place where some of the words in your core deck, maybe not all of them, but maybe a good majority of them, start reading. Just go for it. And I hear a lot of people when I ask them, why haven't you read? They always say, it's because I don't feel ready. I don't feel like I'm ready. It's just frustrating. Oh, I tried to do it, but I just quit because I couldn't read anything. That's the point. There's not going to be a point where you feel ready to. I promise you. You will never get to a point where you're like, I'm ready to read, because that's fluency, and you're not fluent. You're going to read something at first, and you're going to struggle, and by the end of it, you're going to be a little bit better, and that's going to feel great. And the more stuff you read, the more stuff you get it. It's going to be a snowball effect, and you're just going to love it. Trust me. It's a really good process. I really like reading. I love the way that you start grabbing stuff, and it's a lot different from actually just hearing the language spoken. So I think that if you are reading early on, stuff that you can do to help is don't look at the furigana until you look at the kanji. Look at the kanji first, understand it, look at it, see what it's composed of, and then maybe go and try to guess. Maybe if you can, just look at it and kind of try to think in your mind what it might mean, just so you can kind of get a mental image of the kanji. And then, whatever you're using, check the furigana, and then look at it and try to remember it. And then as you come across it more, it's going to get better and better and better, and you're going to remember it better. My next tip is to just go into content and start setting up stuff like Migaku or Yomi-chan, like I was mentioning earlier, and try to set that up. There's other tutorials. If you guys want one, please let me know in the comments. I would love to make one if you guys are interested in that. And that's just, I would show you guys my workflow on how I read stuff. But yeah, and start with material that's fun for you. Don't start just going into as much as you want to do light novels. If that's what you want to do, great, go do it. But a lot of people will see it and there's no pictures, and they'll get really unmotivated, because it's just it's a really big block of text. Even where I'm at right now, light novels are very boring stuff to get through. So try stuff like visual novels. Visual novels are great, amazing. They have pictures, they have sound, they have occasionally they're doing voice acting, they're voice acting the lines, and it's going to really help with breaking that whole point of oh, I don't want to read this because it's intimidating, because it breaks it down into lines. So yeah, if you guys want to see a tutorial on my whole visual novel setup, let me know about that too, because I would love to go over my text extractor and all that stuff. If you guys want to see that, let me know. And yeah, after you've done that, whatever you're doing, start mining vocab cards. Do not do sentence cards. A reason I think this is because I did sentence cards forever, and in my opinion, it is not worth the trouble to do sentence cards. I think that learning them in context doesn't add that much benefit, and it's going to take you at least twice as long to review the cards. So start putting them into vocab cards, and you'll be able to look at the kanji, and you'll be able to just memorize the kanji. And once you start getting into stuff like vocab cards, I encourage you to learn the reading and grade yourself on that, because that'll help you so much. And then yeah, as you do that, lessen your Anki usage. Start doing less Anki as you start reading more. Once you start getting your reading up to a good level, there's no reason you should be dumping an hour and a half into Anki. Lessen it down to an hour or less. I recommend the sweet spot is like 30 minutes for me. But I was doing hours of Anki, and once I replaced it with reading, I noticed my comprehension skyrocket because reading acts as a natural SRS. There's no better frequency list than the stuff that you are seeing, like you are trying to read, you know, because it's just the language. If I'm reading this block of text, the words and how they're used and how frequent they are naturally going to show up in a certain order, and I'm going to be able to pick up all the common words and stuff like that, and I'm going to slowly start, working through them. Anki is only something that should be used to kind of save some time, but if you can replace that with reading, then please do that. Anki will only really help you like once you're past, like in the intermediate stage. Anki really helps you once you start getting into trying to learn rare cards. When I was first starting out, I kept on trying to learn common cards through Anki, and I just learned it's a waste of time because Anki would take me a while and I didn't really like it. But at the end of the day, now I just see that that word every single day when I'm reading. So it's like I would have just picked that up eventually. Words that are super rare, though, you might not see them every single day, and that's when Anki and SRS tools start coming into handy. So yeah, anyway, that's the tips I have for today, guys. Please comment if any of these helped you or you liked any of these, and I look forward to making more videos. And yeah, see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.